C Nation, get your rallying towels up and ready because John Cena is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, oh my God! What an abortion of a main event this was. WWE World Heavyweight Championship ladder match. My God, that match sucked. But I'm going to get that until later into the review. Anyway, thank you for clicking on this video, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on this Money in the Bank 2014 pay-per-view review. WWE Tag Team Championship match opened. The show was the Usos, the Tag Team Champions, versus Luke Harper and Erick Rowan. This is a pretty good match, and I haven't really paid attention to their previous matches like on Raw or SmackDown, but this is a very good opener and a good way to start off Money in the Bank because they needed some more things to filter the card because they just put the Money in the Bank ladder match for the briefcase on first and then just have a lot of filler matches. Then all of a sudden, there'd just be the ladder match at the end. So it was pretty good and a pretty good decision to start off the show with the Usos and Luke Harper and Erick Rowan. A very good match. Luke Harper shined out through here. A lot of back and forth action with the Usos and Luke Harper and Erick Rowan. Erick Rowan and Luke Harper. Man, I botched that one. They look like they could have won the titles in many different scenarios and cases, which I like, the false finishes and stuff like that. Eventually, the Usos would have won like I predicted. I wish the Luke Harper and Erick Rowan would have won, and because Luke Harper and Erick Rowan lost, you could have figured out that Bray wasn't going to win either, because if Luke Harper and Erick Rowan won, Bray probably would have won as well, but that didn't happen. The Usos pick up the win. Hopefully the Ascension get the call up soon to the main roster, and I think they're just holding that for that feud so the Ascension can win the titles and have a heel tag team champion. Anyway, let's get to the second match, Divas Championship match, Paige versus Naomi. For those of you that actually watched this Divas match, it's actually a pretty good, solid Divas match, and the best Divas match I've seen in a long time. Honestly, I think it was better than Caitlyn and AJ's matches that they had around in Payback of last year, or June of last year. This match was really good, and this is a really good Divas match, and I had a very fun time actually watching this to some degree. And normally I'm just going to the bathroom, or normally I'm going somewhere else when the Divas come on. And at this point, Paige versus Naomi, they had a lot of good chain wrestling actually, and they did some pretty cool. Naomi did a cross body on the outside, which is really cool. They did submissions, and they did roll-ups and counters and stuff like that, which is pretty good. You don't normally see that with Divas matches. Normally, it's just eye-candy women going out there and not knowing how to wrestle. Eva Marie. But, that wasn't the case here. It was a pretty good match. Cameron didn't turn Naomi. Paige wins. Naomi, Cameron was being heel, of course, but, nobody could care about the heel thing. But, it was a good match. Paige retains. So we're getting ready for the Money in the Bank ladder match, and they're doing the whole by-the-numbers thing like they do with the Royal Rumble, which is pretty cool to see it the first time, but now when we get it to next year, we're going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. But the by-the-numbers thing was done, and then all of a sudden, Paul Revere came out due to the fact they were in Boston, Massachusetts, and Damien Sandow, Paul Revere, was just cutting a promo, and Adam Rose and the Rosebuds came out, and I gotta say, I don't think the WWE audience is connected with Adam Rose at all, because, I just don't think that they have gelled with Adam Rose. I don't think Adam Rose has got their attention, or not necessarily got their attention, but just, I don't know, I don't feel it with Adam Rose. Normally you see a superstar come in, and then they're somewhat over with the fans, and they know the person, and then they're chanting for him, and they're going to, singing along if they have a good theme song, or they're just, going with the character. With Adam Rose, I just don't feel that. When he won the match, there was no reaction. The Boston crowd was good, but, there was no reaction at all when Adam Rose won. And unfortunately, Adam Rose defeated Paul Revere, and this wasn't the death of Damien Sandow's career here. This is definitely the cremation. Money in the Bank ladder match. Finally, this was the best match by far on this show. Seth Rollins, Rob Van Dam, Dean Ambrose, Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, and Bad News Barrett, just because he separated his shoulder. Thank you, Jack Swagger. Really appreciate that. He was unable to compete, so there's 6 guys, and it was just fine that way. It was a great match, and this was a really good Money in the Bank ladder match. I really think that it was better than some of the matches that we had last year. I just thought it was so good. It was very well timed and paced, and normally, I remember when they had 10 guys out there for the Money in the Bank ladder match, and 8 guys, and normally you think, quantity is better than quality. However, sometimes, but in this case, it was quality is better than quantity. And, you know, with this thing here, you know, normally it was the original 6, and now it's the original 6 people being in this match instead of 8 or 10 or 7 or whatever. So, everything was good. Now, I'm just going to name off some of the spots. In the beginning of the match, you know, somebody was, I believe it was Dolph Ziggler, maybe it wasn't, I don't think it was. I think it was like Seth Rollins or whatever. They were tipping over the ladder. Kofi Kingston, no, it was Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose tipped over the ladder, and then Kofi Kingston caught his balance, went from a springboard from the ropes and dove on about RVD, Jack Swagger, and Dolph Ziggler. It was really cool, but Kofi Kingston also did shine in this, a lot in this match. When they brought up the ladders, you know, we had a power bomb by Jack Swagger and RVD from the top of the ladder almost. Then a superplex from Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins from the top, a superplex from the top of the ladder. Now that was awesome. And also, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins really told a good story, developing their feuds for the future pay-per-view, probably Battleground, because it's going to be 2 weeks from now. You know, that was very good, you know, how they did that and developed throughout the match. Everything was timed and paced well. Everybody looked like they could have won. Jack Swagger, I felt like he no-sold most of the match because he was getting up and getting up and getting up. You know, and yeah. Anyway, everybody had a good chance they could have won. Dolph Ziggler looked like he could have won. Kofi Kingston looked like he could have won. And that was my pick, but he didn't win. But I knew Seth Rollins was probably going to win this match as well. Dean Ambrose, he went out to the back because of his shoulder when he did his when he caught Jack Swagger for the DDT off the ladder. And Dean Ambrose had to be put back into the back. And then eventually, Seth Rollins, also the back bump on the ladder when Seth Rollins got a back body drop off the ladder. Whenever he landed on another ladder that was just sitting there, you know, put there like a concoction or whatever, and he just got flowing and his back hit, and the ladder just went boom, and then he just fell. It was amazing. That was a great spot. Zigzag on the ladder by Ziggler with Kofi Kingston, different counters and other spots. But I have many spots on here because there's just many noteworthy things I could put down. And also, anyway, Seth Rollins would eventually get back on the ladder, and Dean Ambrose they'd tussle over the ladder, and eventually Dean Ambrose would get to the top of the ladder, then Kane came down, and then he would get the choke slam on Dean Ambrose and the tombstone, allowing Seth Rollins to grab the Money Bank briefcase when Kane held the ladder. He grabbed the briefcase and walked away with it, and the Authority celebrated with Seth Rollins. So pretty good. I'm really interested to see how they're going to book Seth Rollins and try to get him to be a world champion in the future. Next match, RybAxel versus Goldust and Stardust. Pretty good match, longer than their Raw match, of course. So a pretty good, solid match. Stardust and Goldust pick up the win here. Summer Rae versus Layla, special guest referee Fandango. Layla wins. Nobody cares. It was a bad match. Rusev versus Big E. Nothing much. Nothing special. Rusev wins with the accolade. Just a little bit longer than their payback match. Now we get to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship ladder match. Oh boy. Alright. Bray Wyatt, my boy, versus John Cena, versus Randall Keith Orton, versus Kane, versus Cesaro, versus Sheamus, versus Alberto Del Rio, versus Roman Reigns. Oh boy. This match was just slow, very slow paced. It was slow as the way I'm talking to you right now. Nothing was very good in this match. This match was, there's no creativity. No spots were done that made this match exciting or different than the match that we had before. It started off as a cluster, and it ended as a cluster, and I remember wondering and looking for Bray Wyatt, and he was basically non-existent, as was Cena, and as was Kane to some degree, and as was Roman Reigns to some degree. Roman Reigns, yes, he looked strong in the end. Roman Reigns was spearing people, and he was going Superman punch crazy, and Roman Reigns was getting fired up, and the fans were behind him and stuff like that. But Roman Reigns, just because you have a lot of good moves, and just because you pick up the pace, doesn't mean you save the match. And the fact of the matter is, Roman Reigns can spear as many people as he wants. That doesn't make him look strong at all in this match. Because Roman Reigns didn't look at all like he was going to grab those 2 belts. No. Triple H didn't come in there. He just sat at ringside with his wife, Stephanie McMahon. So possibly Roman Reigns could have been close to the brass rings. But obviously Triple H would have thrown him off, right, to continue the storyline heading into SummerSlam. But that is not going to happen because you can't make Roman Reigns look weak, right? But they do make him look weak because they didn't do that. Because Roman Reigns didn't look like he was going to win. It was all clear, and I told everybody, John Cena is winning this match. People thought Randall Keith Orton, he's going to win the match, but that didn't happen. Randy Orton got busted open, by the way, and Randy Orton, no. Just Kane looked like he was going to help Randy Orton, and help him get the briefcase. Cena would get Kane and do that attitude adjustment, and then he attitude adjusted, I guess you could say, Randy Orton onto Kane. Cena climbs up as fast as he can, and he grabs those 2 championship titles. What a show. Great. That was just fantastic. I don't know. This match, not necessarily a Money in the Bank match, but one of the worst ladder matches I've seen in a long, long time. I don't remember a ladder match being considerably bad. This one, I don't know. John Cena wins the titles. He's going to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and that was already spoiled on, if you look on any different wrestling scoop websites or whatever. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you clicking on this video and listening to my ranting and raving. Hopefully you can feel my pain through this TV screen. And, yeah. So comment down below what you thought of Money in the Bank if you watched it. What do you think if you didn't watch it? And what do you think about the results and the booking going into this and stuff? Also, check out a couple of my videos down in the links below. And stuff like that. And I have, like, WrestleMania 17 reviews, unboxings, all that kind of stuff like that. So check that out. Also, ladies and gentlemen, after you talk about Money in the Bank, leave some questions down in the comment section below, because I don't know, I think it's maybe July 4th, on Friday, I'm going to be doing a Q&A, questioning and answering video. So please, because I've hit 400 plus subscribers, and also Mattel WWE Wrestling Action Figure Collection will be coming soon. So send some questions down in the comment section below, and I'll be glad to answer those. So thank you very much for watching. Code Breaker 146. Hold on. Peace.